everyone, welcome and thank you for joining me for your practice today. My name is Jessie and today we're going to be working on a sequence that is focused on the low back. So working to release any stiffness or tightness you might be feeling in the low back, as well as building some muscular strength around the legs and the belly to help give a little release for those low back muscles. So for our practice today, we will be using a yoga block, and if you are at home and you don't have a yoga block handy, you can use a couple of books stacked instead. So we'll just let that prop kind of move off to the side near the top of your mat, and we'll get started on the back today. So just finding yourself into a seat right about in the middle of the mat. Roll down to your spine. Feeling the support underneath your back body here, letting your arms just be settled at your sides. And taking a couple of moments here just to arrive for practice. You might allow your eyes to close to really bring your attention to your breath. Just taking a moment to notice some sensations of inhales and exhales without trying to deepen or change or modify the breath in any way. Just allow your breath to rise and fall in its own way. You might notice the tension starting to soften out of your body. Maybe your shoulders get a little bit heavier on the earth. Maybe you feel your hips relaxing into the floor. You might notice some tension through your face that you don't need to hold on to, maybe through your jaw or around your eyes, allowing those muscles just to relax here. Feeling your mind start to become a little bit more present, aware of the current moment, the current sensations in your body and in your breath. Maintaining this feeling of presence here, you might allow your eyes to open if they had closed. And slowly bring your hands to your hips, so wrapping them right around the waist. Your fingertips wrapping around the front of the belly towards your belly button, your thumbs wrapping around your back body, reaching towards your spine. And then allow your feet to lift up off the floor. Stack your knees over your hips, and then notice the muscles underneath your fingertips firing on. Your transverse abdominis working here to support the legs in midair. And you'll notice that muscle stays engaged here as we start to bring a little bit of movement here with the breath. Take a full inhale. And then exhale, tap your right toes to the mat. Inhale, lift the right foot back up next to the left. Next exhale, left toes tap down. And inhale, lift back up. Back over to the right, exhale, tap. And inhale to lift. And left side, exhale, tap. And inhale to lift. And keep moving in this way, alternating side to side, letting your breath be your guide to your pace. Noticing that transverse abdominis muscle, the muscle right underneath the fingertips, continues to stay engaged as your legs lift and lower. You might play around with a little bit more challenge, maybe tapping your toes a little closer towards the front edge of your mat. That further reach of the legs makes the belly work a little bit more here. So just playing around with the intensity that feels appropriate for you. Not pushing it too far, just feeling yourself building a little bit of that belly engagement. Maybe one or two more times each side, finishing up with the left toes tapping. And bringing that left knee back up. And then just let your knees soften towards your belly. Reach your arms up, hugging your shins in. Maybe a little bit of a rock here, side to side, finding some massage for your low back. And then settling into stillness, allow your feet to return to the floor. Set your arms at your sides, palms facing down. So a little grounding action underneath the back sides of your arms. Feel the soles of your feet pressing down into the earth. Spread your toes, and then inhale. Lift your pelvis up off the floor, finding just an easy bridge pose. Exhale. Roll your spine back down to the earth. Again, inhale, pressing into the feet to lift the hips. Exhale, lowering down one vertebrae at a time. So take your time with that descent back down to the floor. One more time, just like this. Inhale, lifting high. And exhale to roll back down. And then inhale, lift your hips. And this time we're going to stay up in midair, but not come up quite so high. So maybe bending your knees a little bit more so your hips kind of hover halfway up. So we're going to work the glutes just a little bit here, but the lower part of the glutes. So rather than the part that we usually think of as the glutes, we're going to find that kind of edge right where the legs and the glutes meet. So you might even bring your fingertips down and just find that crease, that little indentation right where the roundness of the glutes meets the top of the hamstrings, top of the legs. And let your fingers stay here so you're feeling that muscular engagement. Shift your weight into your right foot and lift your left foot, maybe just an inch up off the floor. So feel the muscles underneath the right fingertips really engaged. Lower the left foot back down, switch sides, switch weight into that left foot, hover the right foot, feel the muscles underneath the left fingertips, fired up, and then set the right foot back down, switching again. Right foot stays grounded, left foot lifts and lowers. Switching weight to the left, lift the right foot, and lower it back down. A couple more times each side. You might again keep this little marching action connected with the breath. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. You might play around with holding it a little bit longer. You might speed it up. Just finding what feels right for you here. That lower part of the glute max working. And then we're going to finally end taking your time with the left foot lifted, and then set the left foot back down. Release the hands back down to the earth and lower your hips down to the mat. This little windshield wiper action, knees sliding side to side. You might move the arms a little bit further away from you so the legs have a little bit more motion to move. You might widen the feet just a little bit here, letting one knee kind of chase the other. Just some release through the hips, letting that tension soften from the low back. And then finding stillness here. Hug your knees in towards your belly, arms wrapped to the backs of your thighs, and just take a couple rocks along your spine here. So again, a little opportunity for that massage. Coming all the way up to a seated pose as you're ready. And then your transition to hands and knees. So you might cross your feet just to rock straight forward, or you might take feet to one side, coming over opposite hip. And coming down to tabletop position. Setting wrist creases right underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Shift weight into your left foot and extend your right foot back, just starting off with the right toes down on the earth. So press all 10 finger pads into the earth. Feel the base of the fingers grounding down into your mat. Feel a little more lightness on your wrist creases. And then pushing down into your fingers, press your right heel a little further back. So finding some calf stretch or Achilles stretch here for the back of your right leg. And then softening that. Lift your right foot up. We're going to exhale, tap the right toes. Inhale to lift. Again, exhale, tap. Inhale to lift. 2 more times. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Last one, exhale, tap. And inhale to lift. Exhale, big step, right foot comes to the outside of your right hand now. Rise up to the tips of your fingers so you're a little lighter on your hands. Curl your left toes under, lift your left knee. Hips stay nice and low as you tap left ankle to back of right ankle. And then bring your left foot back down, left shin to the floor. Plant your palms Uncurl your back toes if you had that, so you can find that support as your right leg reaches back. Again, right foot steps forward. Curl your left toes, light on your fingertips, tap left ankle to back of right ankle, hips are as low as you can get them, and then release it back. Left shin down, palms plant, extend through your right leg. Connecting this movement to the breath now. Take an inhale here to stretch, and exhale, right foot steps forward. Inhale, left ankle taps right ankle. Exhale, left shin comes back down, palms plant, inhale. Extend through your right leg. 2 more times here, 2 more rounds. Exhale to step. Inhale to tap. Exhale, grounding your shin. Inhale, reach that right foot out. Last one. With your breath. Letting your breath be your guide to the pace of your movement here. Ending up with that right leg reaching back out. And this time as you exhale, step your foot between your hands. So finding low lunge here. You might like to slide your left knee back a little bit more. And inhale to rise up. Grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand. And just take a little side bend over towards the right, feeling that extension through your left side ribs. Re-engage that transverse abdominis through that belly. Cinch in through your side waist. Squeeze in through your belly button. And with that core engagement here, we're going to turn the shoulders towards the right, so transitioning from that side bend to a twist, and extend your arms out to the shape of a T. Lower your left hand down to the earth, right hand reaching up towards the sky. And then from here, this might be where you choose to grab your block or your books, just to slide underneath your left hand, giving you a little bit more lift of your shoulders. Then from here, pick up your left foot, reach your right hand back to catch hold of the foot. If you can't quite make that connection, just lift that block up to another height setting or add another book or two underneath your left hand so you can make that contact. Let your hips sink a little bit lower here. Feeling that stretch through the left hip flexors, the front of the left quad. If this stretch here isn't very intense and you want to up it a little bit, you can just bend your right elbow a little, bringing your heel in a little closer towards your left hip. Take one more breath in. And then exhale. As you release your left foot, let it float back to your mat. Right hand comes down to the floor, moving that prop out of the way if you had that. Curl your back toes and step back to tabletop position. And we'll switch sides here. So wrist creases underneath your shoulders. Shifting weight into your right foot this time, and the left leg extends back. Shoulders away from ears, a little bit of engagement to the belly. Toes down to the mat, and we'll find that little Achilles or calf stretch here. Taking a moment here to reach long through your left heel. Keeping the weight light on your wrists. And then shifting the weight back forward, starting to move with the breath. Inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale, tap your toes. Inhale to lift. Exhale to tap. One more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale to tap. Adding in that little bit of work for the glutes. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, big step forward, stepping that foot to the outside of your left hand. Come up to the tips of your fingers, so a little bit lighter on the hands. Curl your right toes under if they aren't already curled. Hips stay low as you lift your right knee, and then tap your right ankle to the back of your left ankle. Bring your right shin back to the floor, plant your palms, and extend your left foot back. Again, bringing that foot to the top of your mat, outside of your left hand. Light on your fingertips, curl your right toes. Hips stay low as right ankle taps to left. And then release your right shin back down, plant your hands, and extend through your left leg. Starting to connect the breath with the body. Inhale to stretch. Exhale, left foot steps forward. Inhale, right ankle taps left ankle, hips are low. Exhale, right shin back to the earth, plant your palms. Inhale. Reach long through your left leg. Again, exhale, step the foot. Inhale, Tap the ankles. Exhale, right shin back down. Inhale, left foot extends back. Couple more rounds here with your breath. Moving through this rhythm at your pace, your practice here, your movement. Maybe just taking this one more round here. Ending up with this left leg extending back, full stretch. And then exhale, left foot steps between the hands this time. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, sink a little deeper into your hips. Reaching over to grab your right wrist this time, left hand holding tight. Take that side bend, shoulders shifting over towards the left, breathing into your right side ribs. Feel that engagement through the transverse abdominis, those belly muscles working here, helping to move you into that twist, shoulders turning towards the left. And then release hold of your wrist and bring your right hand down to the mat. Left hand up. And again, if you want to add that prop underneath your hand, just taking a moment to bring that into place here. And then picking up your right foot, left hand stretching back, maybe catching hold of the foot, maybe adding a little bit more height underneath your right hand to make that connection. Feeling that stretch through the quad and the right hip flexor. Staying here with that arm stretching back, or maybe bending your elbow to bring the heel in a little bit closer, if that's appropriate for you. Taking one more round of breath. And then we'll exhale to release. Bring your left hand back around, move that prop underneath your right hand. And step back, tabletop position, hands and knees. Plant your palms, fingers spread wide, curl your toes, and then shift your hips up and back. First, downward facing dog. Just let yourself move it out here. Starting to feel a little bit more stretch through the hamstrings of the backs of your legs. And then finding just a little bit of stillness. Inhale, right leg back, three-legged dog. Exhale, big step forward, right foot comes between the hands. This time that back knee is going to stay lifted, so squeeze your thigh, press through your heel. Inhale to rise all the way up. So similar to what we did last round with the knee down, we're going to grab hold of the left wrist. Just take a little side bend over towards the right. Feel that transverse abdominis engaging, cinching in through your side waist. Use that strength to turn your shoulders towards the right. Release hold of your left wrist and then lower your left hand down to the earth. Right hand stretching high. Not going to worry about that block or books underneath the hand. Just feel this twist. And then lower your left knee down. Uncurl your toes if you have that. You might even slide your left foot just a little bit further towards the left, helping to give you a little bit more stable balance as your right foot lifts up and stretches back. A little kneeling half moon pose here. Right foot level with the hip, spread your toes. Flexing through your foot as if you're standing the sole of your right foot to the back wall. Take an inhale here. And then we'll exhale to release the right hand. Release the right foot. Left knee lifts as you step back, downward facing dog. Pedaling it out here. Second side, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, big step forward, squeezing through the thighs, engaging through the legs. Inhale to rise up. Grabbing hold of your right wrist this time, little side bend over towards the left, and then using that transverse abdominis, that belly engagement, turn your shoulders towards the left, release hold of your right wrist as you hinge forward, right hand to the mat, left arm up. Lower your right knee down, uncurl your toes so your shin is really grounded here. Maybe even slide that foot a little bit further to the right. And then picking up your left foot, extend it back. Kneeling half moon. And again, just lift that left foot up so it's about level with your hip and flex your foot. Toes are pointing over the long edge of your mat. Press the sole of your foot towards that wall behind you. Take an inhale here, stretch up through your top hand. And then coming out, left hand back down to the earth. Left toes at the back of your mat. Lifting off your right knee to downward facing dog. We'll do that one more time each side just to play around with it. So coming back to that right leg extending up, three-legged dog. Exhale, big step forward, right foot between the hands. Inhale to rise up. Grab hold of your right wrist, your left wrist, and we're going to exhale, tilting over towards the right. Strong transverse abdominis belly muscle here to rotate your shoulders towards the right. Release your left wrist as you hinge forward. Bring your left hand down, right hand stretching high. Lower down to your right shin, maybe your left shin. Slide your left foot a little further to the left and extend your right leg back. Kneeling half moon. Take a full breath in here. And then exhale, right hand down, right toes down, left knee lifts up to downward facing dog. Last time. Left leg reaches up. Exhale, left foot steps forward. Inhale, rising up, high lunge. Adding that side bend in here, tilting your shoulders over towards the left. With that strength of the belly, shoulders rotate towards the left. Add that twist, release your right wrist. Bring your right hand down, left hand up. Lower down to your right shin, sliding that foot a little further towards the outer edge of your mat if you'd like. And then left foot extends up, kneeling half moon. Take a full breath in here. And as you exhale, bring your left hand down, left toes down, returning to downward facing dog. Take a round of breath here. And then release your knees down to the earth. Sliding them back so they're behind your hips. And keep your elbows in really close towards your side ribs. So as you start to bend your arms, feel your thighs and your belly starting to lower down. Those elbows are just sliding past your side ribs as you come all the way down to your forehead. Uncurl your toes here. Find a little bit of engagement to your legs. Squeeze your thighs. Tops of the feet are planting down. And then inhale, push into your hands to lift your heart enough that you can slide your elbows forward right underneath your shoulders, finding Sphinx pose. A little supported back bend here. Shoulders away from ears. Press your sternum towards the top of your mat. Just a few breaths here. Not a super long hold, but finding some strength building for the low back. Building those muscles around the spine. Giving it a little bit more support. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, just let your elbows kind of slide off to the sides so you can lower down to your forehead. Maybe you stack your hands underneath your head. Maybe you turn your head to one side. Let your legs relax. Take a few breaths just to release. Coming in for one more round here, so lift your forehead. Slide your arms back into place, elbows underneath shoulders, forearms are parallel here. Legs engaged, tops of the feet are grounded. So you can stay here in this Sphinx pose, or you can add a little bit deeper of a back bend if you'd like, coming into seal. So if you'd like to come into seal, your hands are going to widen out. I like to bring them right about to the edge of my sticky mat, but you might play around with a little more wide or narrow depending on the width of your shoulders and what works for you. But coming into seal, fingers spread, press your palms down and allow your elbows to come up off the floor. And this adds a little bit more compression to your low back, so just be aware of how your body feels. If this is uncomfortable, come back to that Sphinx position. If this feels all right to stay here in seal, make sure your shoulders stay relaxed and your heart is still pushing forward just like it was doing in Sphinx pose. Give yourself another round or two of breath. And then as you're ready, if you're in seal, go ahead and lower your elbows back down to the earth. And then bring your hands together, taking a little rest from whichever version you're in, elbows widening out, forehead lowering down. If you turned your head to one side this last time around, turn it the opposite way just to stretch the neck evenly. Allow your hips and thighs to be relaxed and soft. Just a few breaths to rest your low back. And then we'll make the transition back to hands and knees from here. So if your hands are underneath your forehead, just lift that out enough that you can slide your hands out from underneath you. Pressing down into your mat, push up to that hands and knees shape, and then we'll move from here to a seated position. So again, you can cross your ankles to roll back over your feet, or just take your feet to one side, coming over opposite hip. Grab your yoga block here. And we're going to come back to our spine. So sliding up to the center of your mat, lowering down to the floor. Just give yourself a moment here. Feel the low back settle once again. And then we're going to bring that block or stack of books underneath the spine here, a little supported bridge variation. So pushing your feet down enough to lift your hips and slide that prop underneath you so your pelvis feels fully supported. You can release your hands and your legs don't have to really be working here to hold you up. Just your hips settling on that block or stack of books is enough to hold you in place. Then we're going to do a little bit of work for the hip flexors, the front of the hips. So we're going to start by hugging the right knee in. Just interlace the fingers around your knee. Extend your left leg up. So from here, lower it down. Your left leg comes to about 45-degree angle, about halfway down to the floor. Shoulders are relaxed. The upper body is as soft as possible. And then we're just going to add a little bit of a pulse into your left leg. So just moving your foot up and down, maybe a few inches at most. Trying to keep your breath steady and full. You might play around with lowering your foot a little bit closer towards the mat and still keeping your foot just above your hip, but still pulsing. And giving yourself just another moment here, pulsing for 3, 2, and 1. Release your left heel all the way down to the mat. Still holding on to your right knee. Allow your left leg just to totally relax. Maybe the toes kind of roll over towards the top left corner of your mat. A couple of breaths just to stretch into the hip flexors, giving some release to those muscles we were just working a moment ago. And releasing hold of your right knee. Allow your right foot to come back to the earth. Slide your left foot up next to your right. And then we'll switch sides. So hugging your left knee in this time, just fingers interlacing over your shin. Upper body stays relaxed. Extend your right leg up to the sky and then lower your right foot down about halfway to the floor so your leg is about at that 45-degree angle. Shoulders are still heavy and soft. And then start to pulse your right foot. So again, we're just moving up and down just a couple of inches. You might play around with making the movement a little bigger or a little smaller. Notice how your body feels with those changes. You might stay here at about that 45-degree angle or maybe lower your foot down a little bit more so your foot is still visible above your hip. So your heel is above, parallel to the floor. But noticing how the different position of your foot changes the amount of work that your hip flexors are doing. And continue pulsing for 3, 2, and 1. Gently release your right heel all the way down to the earth and allow your right leg to relax. Just a couple of breaths here. Shoulders are still soft. And then letting go of your left knee. Allow that foot to come back to the mat. Arms are at your sides as you slide your right foot next to your left, returning to that supported bridge shape, and then we'll move the prop out from underneath. So push into the feet, lift the hips, move the block or books off to the side, and set your hips all the way back down to the earth. Take a moment to listen to your body. Notice if there's anything else that it needs to do here. That might be a happy baby here, maybe shining the soles of your feet up towards the sky, adding a little rock here to massage your back one more time. Your inner thighs might feel like they need a little bit more release after that hip flexor work. So maybe with the feet on the mat, allow the knees to open off wide. A little supine Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. You might choose to come into an inversion with your legs up in the air. You might want to add a little twist in here, letting the knees fall to one side then the other. Anything that your body is telling you would feel nice here. Just take a moment to listen and respond. When your body feels ready, allow your feet to return to the mat if they aren't already there. Arms relaxed at your sides, palms facing up, shoulders soft and settled. One at a time, extend your legs long on your mat. Let your feet roll apart as your hips and your thighs relax. Just giving yourself a couple of moments here to rest in Shavasana. Not a really long hold today, but just enough to let your body settle and still. A little time to allow your attention to return to your breathing. Allow a moment to notice the thoughts in your mind. Observing without trying to control the thoughts. Allowing them to rise and fall in their own way, the same way that the breath rises and falls without any effort required on your part. It's just enjoying these moments of rest. And slowly wiggling your fingers and toes, moving your wrists and your ankles, your elbows and your knees. Allow your feet to return to your mat one at a time. Roll yourself over to one side. Your eyes might still be closed here as you make that transition up to a seat, pressing your hands into the floor to rise up. Crossing your legs and settling in. Returning to the feeling of your breath. And then gently bring your palms together right in front of your heart, pausing for a moment of gratitude here. Taking a moment to thank your body for its efforts in your practice today. Thank your breath for its continuous flow without you having to consciously continue. Sending a little gratitude to your mind, to your willpower, for their contributions to your practice. And bow your head forward. The light in me sees the light in you and honors it as the same. And thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste.